Hello there. Well, I've been watching a lot of the English motorcycle auctions and watching the comments on how the prices are getting lower and lower for, well, let's just say, the normal sort of old bikes. Old bikes that would have once commanded a price because they were old. I mean, I'm not talking about your Velocette Venoms or your Black Shadows but you know, your run-of-the-mill Beezers and Triumphs and Ariels and that sort of stuff. Well, I've just managed to find an Australian classic and vintage motorcycle auction, so let's have a look through the catalogue and see what we reckon. Okay, so here we've got a Honda 1980 CB400N Super Dream. Estimates $3,000 to $5,000. Current bid at $1,500, which must be the initial bid. So we'll just have a quick look at what it says about it. Now, I've found with these they have a bit of normal history and then a little bit about this vehicle. So this one has had a fairly big resurrection. And it is, let's see, new exhaust system was fitted, the wheel and hub. Okay, so she looks like she's rideable, running. I mean, a few years ago you'd be lucky to get $1,500 for it. Now I think you might get the $3,000 to $5,000. It just depends. It's very hard for me to say not seeing the bike. So we got here, we got a 72 T250 Hustler, the Suzuki two-stroke. Two-strokes, of course, are being worth more and more money now as they're just not available. So we got estimates of $5,000 to $7,000. It's probably about right, a little bit high from where I'm coming from, but we're actually up to $3,400 already, and we've got nearly 6 days left. Let's have a quick look at what it says. Beautifully presented example, extensively rebuilt by our vendor over the last few years. Engine was stripped and rebuilt, gearbox and clutch overhauled, along with kickstarter brake and suspension. Stripping and painting the frame and tank, rechroming many parts and recovering the saddle. Odometer showing 30 miles. Started on delivery and currently registered on non-transferable club plates in New South Wales. The bank will therefore be sold unregistered with no reserve. So, yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. Something you could use straight away. And, like, I've done a little bit of work, so I have an idea of how much it costs to when you start rebuilding things, and that's not a lot of money for what's been done. So, yeah, that'd be not a bad thing. A 44 Indian Chief. So, I mean, this is where the money is. There'll always be money in these. And I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes back over to the States because they're sort of holding on to this sort of stuff now. What have we got here? Purchased from country South Australia and part of our vendor's eclectic collection for approximately 10 years. The Indian Chief is currently registered on non-transferable historic plates in New South Wales. So there you go. She's rideable. So even at what they're saying, it'll go to from 40 to 50,000, which I would suspect would be right. At the 28,000 that our mate's got it for at the moment, it's still with 6 days to go, so that's a long way from home. Year 2013. He's no one's bid on that one at all yet. It's a bit of a tough call at the moment with the Indian just being sold, but then the people who paid for it paid millions of dollars for the rights to it, so you wouldn't think they were going to pay that money just to shut it down. But anyway, what do we have? It's collected, fully registered, but ridden it sparingly over the past 12 years. Certificate of there, key fob. Yeah, look, that's I've always said I'd never buy one because, I mean, there's been about 4 different lots of Indian in the 100 years I've been around, and You might get parts for the original ones, but the sort of 2 to 3 intermittent ones, I doubt you'll be able to get parts for them in 5 years. So, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a good buy. Now, your little Lambretta. So this one here is 1957. They're estimating 10 to 15,000, but no one's even bid on it at 5. So I don't know whether all the Lambretta owners are holding off, or I mean, I would think that 5 would be about its price, but I'm not a scooter expert. Current owner met the now legitimate swap meet 10 years ago. The owner chose to have the engine and gearbox overhauled by specialist Casa Lambretta in Perth, shipping everything across to them in 2019, costing $3,500. Little used in recent years and registered under the current owner. Scooter starts and runs, but will need some minor mechanical recommissioning to adjust brakes and kickstart. Paint is still good with only a few minor blemishes. Some of the brightworks is tarnished. Look, I think that would add to it for me, just to have that little bit of patina on it to show that it's not a new bike. Because all you really want to know is make sure that it's going to go and stop when you want. Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing, but I think it's closer to 5 rather than 10 to 15. We got here a 62 CL72 Scrambler. They're estimating at 5 to 7. Current bids at 4,600. So I mean, it should make its money. And these are a difficult thing to get a hold of. What have we got information on it? Purchased by a vendor as a restoration product from Melbourne 8 years ago. It's been used as a dirt bike and for early scrambles. An experienced motorcycle collector and restorer expect on a full mechanical and cosmetic restoration. Complete overhaul of the engine gearbox. 18 months was importantly spent searching correct original parts, many directly from Honda in Japan. Carburetors were fully overhauled, and the vendor sensibly upgraded the bike to electronic ignition. So yeah, and I think that'll make its money. It's once again, it's a quirky little bike. A lot of people remember them from the old days, and you know, if you get it for between $5,000 and $7,000, it's not really a lot of money to spend on something you remember fondly. Hey, 42 model Norton Model H. Now, this is the sort of bike that was once just worth money just because of what it was. You can see here that it's not got a bid. They're looking for 12,500 bid, estimating 25 to 30, which I would have thought would be right, but maybe it's a bit on the high side now. As I said, there's still 6 days to go, but they haven't got a bid at all. We'll just check on the condition here. According to the replacement logbook, originally registered 1924 in Yorkshire. Following a period off the road, was reissued from Cornwall in 2015. We bought it in 1997. I went through Holland and bought it in 2016. Drained to fluids, the Norton will require some recommissioning and will be sold unregistered. So, yeah, I mean, it could be good, it could be bad. That's one of those tossy ones, and maybe people have gone to look at it, or maybe people who live down there know more about the history of it. But, yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was a bad place to start. And here's your Vincent Series C Comet in Sydney. Although we have no history, an experienced Vincent collector purchased the Comet from a well-known vintage dealer yesterday's in Holland. Described at the time being good running condition, the bike has been in dry storage, being ported to Australia, and will require some recommissioning after standing idle for about 8 years. So, yeah, the Vincent name normally carries a fair bit of weight on it. This has got 5 bids. She's up to 28,000. They're only estimating 30 to 40. So that one should make its money, I think. Here's a B series. little bit earlier. Looking for $75,000 to $85,000, which is, you know, a lot of money. They're up to 45.5 with 6 days to go, so it might get there. That looks like carefully placed in warm, dry storage in Queensland, where it's remained ever since 2007. So for nearly 20 years, it's been in warm, dry storage. Once again, to get a running, rideable version of this bike would be hideously expensive. So yeah, if you were there and you could take a look and maybe see if it'll turn over, then I think if you're into that sort of bike for that sort of money, it's probably not a bad way to go. Yeah, this is more like me. So we've got the 73 Commando. Obviously had a little bit of customizing done. I think it looks pretty good. I think the money is just about where it should be there. I don't know about the top estimate of 28. They seem to be going for actually about the 22 there, is what I see, especially when this one, well, they call them upgrades, but they're just changes from original. So as a result, the Commander was a cafe racer in the best tradition, perfectly capable of mixing with modern traffic, whilst offering the very best classic British motorcycling has to offer, and estimated a fraction of the dollars invested over the years. Look, I like it. I would prefer it standard, but there's nothing about that that's not just absolutely beautiful. And the money's about in the right place, so yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. This one here has me a little bit puzzled. Estimating $6,000 to $10,000 on a 30-year-old, just any bike. I mean, I don't believe there's anything special about a YZF 600R. Does only have 12,000 Ks on it, and it is registered. But you know, what are you going to do with it? I was looking at a Blackbird myself the other day, thinking, well, do I really want to do 300 kilometers an hour on a bike that's nearly 30 years old? I don't think this is a bad bike for $3,000, but I don't think it's worth 6 to 10. I guess we'll have a look and see if someone else does. So here we have the FZR 1092 model. Is this a little bit more special than the old YZF? Someone's bid on it at $4,000. They're estimating 8 to 12. I don't know. I think 4,000 would be about where I'd want to be on that. So someone might get a reasonable deal on that. Sold unregistered without any books or paperwork. The bike started easy on delivery to Donington's Emery Park facility, and we are advised that it runs well. Okay. Regularly ridden in his ownership and presents in a very honest, well-used condition. The X-up valve has been disconnected due to noise bearings at idle, but a set of NOS bushings are included with the original valve assembly. So this is basically a survivor. It's 33 years old. You've got to decide whether you think it's an old bike or a classic. This one here, however, is a whole different kettle of fish. I mean, the early GSXR 750s were just so groundbreaking. So, yeah. I remember a mate of mine had one of the really early ones, and it was just an incredible bike. I'd never seen anything like it, never ridden on anything like it. This one they're estimating 8 to 12. He's got a bid on it at 4. I think that'll climb up, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Now, here's something I would particularly like. the Bahco Persang. And she's had all this work done to her, full engine rebuild, Makuni carburetor, new front rear shock absorbers, all new bearings and oil seals throughout. Repaint in the correct shade of yellow, brakes upgraded to Rickman components. It gets me that they're allowed to call them Matisses when they were a copy of the Matisse frame. But anyway, I don't really know the history. I wasn't even born in '66. I'll just say that I would really like that, and if I had $5,000 to spend on it, I don't think I could go to 10, but 5 to 6 I think would be a reasonable amount. And here's your bid. Oh, and I did notice no bids at all on that one. And here's your 250 Sherpa. Estimate 5 to 7. No bids, starting at 2.5 and no bids on it. This is probably from the same mob, I'd say. Engine gearbox rebuilt, new shock absorbers, all the work done. So yeah, once again a good thing. Probably 3.5 I'd go on that one if I had the spare cash. But yeah, no one seems to be interested at the moment. Here's something a little bit different. Kawasaki MT1 Mini Trail, no reserve. Estimates in 4 to 6. Current bid 3. So we've had 6 bids on it, taken up to $3,000 now. Consider if this was a Honda, it'd be like around $10,000 already. So it makes these little Kawasaki's a good purchase, I think. Now then, to completely strip the bike and carry it out a cosmetic restoration, including powder coating the frame. The bike still requires some mechanical fettling, notably the front brake, clutch and chain adjustment. So yeah, maybe that's what's keeping the price down. But then again, it's had 6 bids, so I think it'll probably make its money. I read that one. Right. So we've got a 1980 Ducati 900 SS. And I don't know a lot about Ducatis. I'm one of those people who puts them in the temperamental and expensive basket. So they're not really something I've ever held an interest in. And I was wondering about this price here. But then I checked on bike sales, and this is quite a good price for this bike. So yeah, there are people asking up to 90,000 for these. So she's had a lot of bids on her, and I reckon she'll get a lot more bids in the next 6 days. And this is a beautiful bike, but this is just a bike to own. You know, I can't. I would love to have one of these, but I can't imagine risking riding it. But yeah, and these of course are worth megabucks. If someone could get it for the $42,000 to $46,000, they'd be doing very well. It's got 26 bids on it already, so yeah, I would see that climbing over. Well, I wouldn't think it'd make 42, but it might make 35 or so. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, 2003 BMW R11T. This is just another old bike, but they started the bidding low. I don't think it'll get to $4,000 to $6,000. I would think three and a half. Motorcycle will require recommissioning. Keys included. Bike was used and turned over 12 months ago. Had a new battery 12 months ago. The only known issue is that the ABS light was flashing when you turned the ignition on, which is pretty normal for any BMW that's more than 10 years old. Right back from when I had my K75, the K100 owners were complaining about the same thing. So, yeah, it's just a thing with them. Okay, we've got the Sportster, no reserve. Estimate of $6,000 to $8,000, just to see how much the Harley prices have come down recently. And $6,000 to $8,000 is about where these are now. Just keys included, good compression, motorcycle silo. So there's not really any information about it. So once again, very hard to judge it from where I'm sitting. You have got to ask a question, stuff like that. You can do. But yeah, looks like a fairly honest example, and depending on how much work you need and what you want out of it, should probably be all right. There, 2002 Triumph T100 10 edition. Okay, so looks nice. I don't know that it's worth $10,000. I would think 2002. I would think maybe 6 to 7. He's got 5 bids, but they're only up to 2,800 so far. So I don't know whether the Centennial Edition means much. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. The 67 T120. She's estimated at 8 to 10, which, yeah, I mean that's, I don't know, probably a little high, but getting close to the money. She's got 9 bids up to 3,600 at the moment. So it's a nice looking little thing. Matching frame and numbers, rack, USB, keys included. Didn't say anything about its condition, so it's a bit of a crapshoot from here. If you're down there in Melbourne, you could have a look at it. You'd probably get a better idea. Norton Dominator. Estimated at 12 to 15. Yeah, I think it'll probably do that. It's 11 bids up to 5,200. So they're a fairly sought after model. Let's see if we get information. Presented in a respectable original condition. So, yeah. Don't know. Once again, hard to tell from here. The Gold Stars seem to command a bit of a premium. He's got 18 bids up to 6,400, looking for an estimate of 8 to 10. I think they'll probably make that $8,000. This example presented in very original condition. The engine and frame are correct. It is fitted with the factory gearbox, 190mm front brake, 38 GP rotor. The tank is possibly reproduction. The levers accessory. The cases are replacements. However, are original BSA Gold Star 500 cases. So make that of it what you will. She's yeah, they just seem to command a bit of a premium, the Gold Stars. '27 AJS H8 Big Port. So we've got estimated 18 to 25. She's up to 11 already, so I think it'll probably hit its mark. It has been on static display for many years in the owner's house and is not used. It is presented in outstanding condition. Yeah. Uh, 1949 Norton International Model 30. I don't have a lot of knowledge on these. I'm just looking at that bit of orange there, wondering what that is. Maybe it's a reflection of something. So estimating 25 to 40, they've got $18,000 bid on it, so she might struggle a bit. Not really any information on these, on this one. So yeah, it might just be the condition. 1981 6 500B. Oh, that's right. This one here was brand new in the packing crate, but the packing crate started to disintegrate, so they put it together. And I believe that was in 2002. Yes, purchased in June 81. The vendor informs us this machine is one of the earliest 6 500B to be delivered to Australia. Brand new, never used or registered. It was stored for 21, broken down in its original packing crate for 21 years. Due to deterioration of the cardboard crate, it was assembled in 2002. Photos of the bike being unpacked and assembled will be passed to the owner, as well as original purchase documents. So, I mean, I don't think they're a particularly special bike. There's the fact that it's never been started and make it worth $16,000. Not to me. I know Jay on Vroom Room has just restored one that he purchased at auction in bad condition, and he thought it was a magnificent bike, but I doubt he would have come the equivalent of £8,000 to £10,000 for it. So yeah, that one will be interesting. It's always interesting when you see these bikes that have never been assembled or started, and you think, well, does starting them deteriorate the value, or does it make it more real, or are these people buying them to use them, or just to look at them, or maybe for an investment? Yeah. Here we have another little Suzuki two-stroke. Estimate at 4 to 6, up to 2,400 with 5 bids. Okay, the owner had purchased from the estate of Wayne Von Emmen. Wayne purchased the bike in 85 and rebuilt the engine. Had tyres, tubes, crankshaft has been replaced with a rebuilt one. Everything works as it should. Carburetors are drained and clean. Bores and pistons have no detectable wear. Workshop manual. Parts manual and battery trickle charger. Well, if it has a trickle charger, you'd expect that it was running. So, yeah, once again, it's not a lot of money for something really special. So, yeah, I see all these Suzuki two-strokes. It makes me kick myself that when I got my open license, the bloke down the road around the corner from me offered me a mid-60s T500 two-stroke Suzuki, registered for $900, and I said no because it was too old. Yes, it now would be probably worth 10 times that much. So, but you don't know these things. What have we got here? 79 SR 500. Estimated 4 to 6, 3,800 on 10 bids. So the next bid's 4,000. So this should make its money. These have always been one of those bikes that people like to get, and they used to like to get them and do them up. I think now they like to get them and keep them normal. Matching numbers USA delivery. Keys are included. Also has damage to the back indicators, which I think I could see in one of the pictures. They're just snapped off and hanging, I think. So, yeah. And they're a smick looking little bike. They got that retro cruiser sort of look at them, the one that everyone's aiming for now. Yeah. That's nice if you like that sort of thing. I think looking at that from the engine there, you can see the Triumph influence on the early Yamahas. So, yeah. And once again, if you're buying anything new today, you're paying a lot of money for it. So if you get something that's in good nick for about that $4,000, it's not a lot of money really. But then if you're going to pay $4,000 for the 500, for an extra few thousand, like this one's had 10 bids already, so there's a lot of interest in it. So up to well, 5,800, asking for 6,000. They're only looking for 7 for the estimate. So this motorcycle has really had new tyres, a new battery, a new seat fitted, is in excellent running condition. Has keys being sold and registered. So yeah, that could be a nice bike. 56 AJS 600cc. She's estimated at 4 to 6. There's 2 bids up to $1,200 at the moment. I don't know a lot about AJS. This one also says will require recommissioning. So yeah, not really able to tell just how much recommissioning it needs. It does look complete and pretty good. The matchy here. What do we got? 55 G9 500cc. Estimating 6 to 8. She's got 5 bids up to $1,800 at the moment. This matchless 500 twin has spent the majority of its life in the Warrnambool region of Western Victoria. Acquired by the current owner in 2016, it was previously on full Victorian registration, although it has not been started since that time. It is reported to be mechanically sound, retain strong compression, and should only require minimal recommissioning before returning to the road. Presenting as largely original and unmolested example of the matchless G9, it retains many authentic features, including its distinctive rifle shot exhaust, making it an appealing candidate for sympathetic preservation or straightforward restoration. So yeah, I mean, depending on what you paid for it, that could be a very good one. Okay, a pre-54 British-made Royal Enfield Bullet. No reserve. So she's got 2 bids up to $1,200, an estimate of $4,000 to $5,000. Yeah, look, there's no information on it. So you'd have to take your chances on what condition it is. I mean, they've made a point of the fact it is a British-made Royal Enfield. There's a lot of advertising now with the Royal Enfield and how it's the longest-running motorcycle manufacturer in the world. And of course, if you know your history, when the Indians were licensed to build the Enfields, they were not allowed to call them Royal Enfields because they weren't being made in England. So they were only ever Enfields or Indian Enfields. And then a while back now, someone bought the rights to the name Royal Enfield and bought the Indian Enfield manufacturing plants, and so now they are completely able to call them Royal Enfields made in India. So it's a little bit of marketing hype and not the complete truth, but they own the rights to the name and they own the rights to the bike, so they can call them what they want. Okay, 71 Commando 750 Cafe Racer project. She must be missing a few bits, I'd say. Let's have a look. Fitted with flange yellow rims, likely Australian delivered fiberglass high rider tank. Okay, so no information. I wouldn't think she's very complete for that price. We'll see if we can have a look at the bigger pictures and see if we can... Oh yeah, look. Head's not on, no carb, no exhaust. Frame all seems to be there. Not sure if that's... Yeah, that should be the brake. Yep. Missing the throttle. oil. Maybe it's to tell you that there's no oil in it. Yeah, fair bit of rust spots in the chrome. Oh, but look, if you had the knowledge, this is the perfect place to start. If you wanted to build something a little bit out of the ordinary. What? Is that your gear lever there? There under that one? Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I was in the market for a project, that is something I would definitely be looking at. Current 1,800 on 3 bids. Look, yeah, it should make that money. It should make $5,000. I mean, fixed up, it would be worth so much that I believe that wouldn't be too bad a price. 54 Thunderbird. 8 to 10,000 they're looking for. Bid up to 4,600 at the moment. This matching is presented in remarkably good original condition. Our vendor has informed us it has been in its ownership for 20 years. Over the course of ownership, the motorcycle has undergone a 12-volt conversion with an electronic regulator. Top end of the engine has been rebuilt and it is believed that the bike has only travelled a few thousand kilometres since its top end rebuild due to the poor health of the vendor, who is now unable to ride. There is evidence for the original polychromatic blue paint underneath the black. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good, and if you can just take it and use it, yeah, I think that's not a bad one. Spitfire, looking for 8 to 10,000. She's bid up to 4,400 with 10 bids, so plenty of interest there. Has matching frame and engine numbers. Is fitted with correct Dunlop flange alloy rims and twin leading shoe front brake. The engine has good compression. It's been in largely original unrestored condition, so not saying it runs and rides, but they're saying it should. So that one will be interesting. I'm not so familiar with the Spitfires, but we'll keep an eye on it. So we have a 68 Royal Enfield Interceptor. MKIA, no idea what that means. She's only got one bid for $2,000 and we're looking at 6 to 8 of an estimate. Matching frame to engine number, muffler not correct, good compression. So she's not ready to ride or anything, but no, it definitely looks like a project. She looks a bit tatty and ratty. There's a bit of a whack there. Back shocks look like they've had it. So you make your own call on that one. What do you think it would be worth? Because you've got work to do. 67 Norton Atlas. 18 bids, bringing up to 5,200 for an estimate of 8 to 10. Matching frame to engine number, alloy rims, twin litre front brake assembly. Oh, litre. It should be litre. Someone's written litre. Bloody hell. You got to wonder when the people who are doing the auction writing don't understand the terms they're using, don't you? So they're not saying it's running and riding, but it shouldn't be too far off. It does look in nice condition. I guess it depends whether you want to ride them. I mean, I can't have bikes just to look at. At one stage I had 7 motorcycles, and I used to make sure each one got started and ridden around the yard at least once every 2 weeks, because I couldn't stand to have a bike just to look at. Triton 16, no reserve. Now this one's obviously a Bitzer. Tritons, I don't know. I'm in Australia, as you all know. They're always presented as a rather special thing over here. I don't know whether they were considered a Bitzer over where they were made, or whether they're a conglomeration from two companies, or how it worked out, but this one's got the 88 Dominator frame, the 650 pre-unit 1951 motor, fiberglass petrol tank and metal oil tank, Norton forks and wheels and good compression. So yeah, you're starting, but a lot of work to go. It's probably more than I could cope with, but with that frame repainted a nice shiny black and a yellow tank, yellow guards, I reckon that would be absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so we've got a 50 Matchy AJS Scrambler. This is a bit of a project. They're only asking 2 to 4 grand, and they've got 2 bids up to 550 at the moment. So yeah, definitely a bit project. There'll be enough there to get you going. A 350cc crankcase with a 500cc top end. So yeah. And sometimes I think it's good if you got these things so you're not so afraid if you don't have something that's correct. You know, you could put something else in there and not be afraid that someone's going to go, oh, gee, that's not the right bit. But and here's the last of the bikes, which once again is a bit of a project, I'd say. It's called the 54 Triumph Tiger T110. They're estimating $3,000 to $4,000. I've got 5 bids up to $1,800 at the moment. Matching frame to engine number with scalloped 8-inch front brake and a 5-fin cylinder head. So that must just be that the top tree's not bolted down. It's a bit strange to leave it like that. But anyway, she's got a few bits missing, but not a lot of money there to get you started, so that might be worthwhile. And there is just a ton of memorabilia and parts and stuff, and I won't go through it all, but we'll just have a bit of a look at these, because we've got a Ducati NOS 900 SS seat, 10 bids taking it up to $650 at the moment. So I mean, it seems to have the cowl at the back, the Desmo cowl. I mean, I wouldn't think your padding would be any good. You'd still have to rebuild it. So, but to have that if you were building or restoring a bike would just be absolutely phenomenal. And your 2 mufflers here. So still brand new in the packing. Just for, they've got 21 bids up to $2,400, but really to buy a decent exhaust system for anything is going to cost you that sort of money. So yeah, I think that's a pretty, you know, you wouldn't find anything like that. It's very, very rare. So I'm not going to go through all the other stuff, but I was pretty excited to find a auction here in Australia where I could, you know, the prices are more reasonable. Now, there's a few things I will say. If we go to auction info, buyer's premium. The buyer's premium for complete motorcycles is 9.5 plus GST, so 10.45% total, and 19.5 plus GST for all other lots. So if you're looking at the motorcycles, you're going to have to add another 10% for the buyer's premium, and another over 20% if you're buying like those exhausts. You know, if you spend $2,500 on the exhaust, you've got to add another 20% onto that for the buyer's premium. So your Melbourne lots can view. Your New South Wales lots are in Anna Grove. I did have a look at some of the things I would not have minded in the memorabilia and stuff, because I won't be able to find one right now. Say a Triumph brochure. All right. So there's not really any easy information about postage. They're not posting. They just say that they will give you a price, you buy for it, and then they'll give you a price. So that adds another cost to it. You know, like this here, if you bought this for $100, you know, you're going to pay $121 for it, and then you're going to have to pay someone to pack it up and post it. So yeah, I mean, I think you're pretty keen if you're going to pay $100 for a Triumph sales range brochure, but people do. You know, these ones here where they're selling 3 helmets, I mean, you can't use them. I mean, maybe you just want to display them. I can understand that. Lots of books. This one here I would have liked. I've got a bit of advertising stuff in my shed there. So, yeah. But they're not talking about posting and that. So, yeah. But you could always ask the question and see. You know, even if you paid $20 for that, and then so you're paying another $4 in buyer's premium, and then probably another $10 for them to post it to you. It's not really a lot if you wanted something like that. So anyway, something to think about. Now look, I hope you've stayed with me this long. Now what I will do is I will go through after the auction, and I will give a results video. See you then.